Hello, welcome to my channel, Save Infinity. Just wanted to do a quick, timeless, general collective tarot reading. If this message finds you, then I trust it's for you. However, as always, please only take what resonates, leave the rest and use your own discernment as always. Okay, let's see what messages Spirit and the Tarot have for you today. Spirit, God, universe, angels, archangels, ancestors, ascended masters, unicorns, fairies, dragons, and gnomes. What messages do you have for the collective today? Okay. These three popped out, so I'm going to take those. And then I also just feel called to take, well, the Chariot popped out there, so I might take that. And then just take one or two more. All right, let's see. Okay, so the first card here, the Five of Swords, I feel like it's kind of calling and saying that, you may have recently gone through an experience where you had people being quite, negative or malicious towards you. There may have been some people that were close to you that you trusted that, unfortunately, did something or, have behaved in a way that have made you reconsider whether they are someone you should trust and hold value in your life. Whether they were acting towards you out of, jealousy or spite or, trying to provoke or, sabotage you, whatever it may be. I do feel like that maybe recently you have had some sort of experience where, you were the subject of, being gossiped about or, just not treated very nicely or, seen or witnessed some sort of behaviors or, expressions from people you once, trusted and valued that kind of ripped the mask off and showed you a different perspective underneath that didn't really resonate with you. If that makes sense, which can always be, quite a challenging and overwhelming thing to face, when someone you trust doesn't turn out to be the person you thought they were, or a relationship that you value, falls apart or betrays you. That can always be such a difficult experience to go through, but there is always a divine plan and, greater lessons and soul growth to be learnt from that experience. So not all is lost. And so the 10 of Wands here in reverse, I feel like is a sign here from Spirit, saying that this burden that you were experiencing from this person or, group of people, whatever it was for you, that the burden is now lifted. You've moved away and out of that experience. And it's not something that you have to worry about anymore. You're able to feel less stress and less pressured surrounding this situation, as difficult or as uncomfortable as it may have been. Now that the waters are starting to settle a little more, you're calmly able to just move away from that into, a bold, great new chapter of your life. And then the Nine of Swords here, the Nightmare card, I feel like isn't necessarily calling to that this is being your experience, but I feel like the personal people kind of involved in this betrayal type energy, or, betrayal type energy, you've moved away from that situation and, feeling more relieved from the experience, and have come back more into a calmed, grounding state after going through that terrible experience. And then I feel like this card is showing that the people or person involved in that scenario are now themselves going through despair, and are now feeling burdened, by the outcomes of this scenario. Kind of like the tables flipped, the roles have switched here, and what was once a burdening and awful experience for you, you were able to get yourself away from that and really alchemize and transmute those energies into a more calm, grounded state for yourself. Whereas the people that were involved in that, and did wrong by you, are now themselves going through, a period of burden and despair, which, we don't wish on anybody, and, send them love and compassion. We don't want anybody to be going through that, but sometimes that is just the outcome of these sort of situations, and they are on their own journey too. So just to not give it too much credence or concern, don't put too much focus on what's going on in their reality, and instead kind of, focusing back on your inner path. And then I feel like the Chariot card coming out here is really just, highlighting that aspect of what we were saying before, that you are moving away from this situation and, moving into calmer and brighter waters. And that you are in the process of change and movement in your reality. Particularly with the Hanged Woman card here next to it, I really do feel like that this is Spirit saying that you are currently moving between and phasing between two worlds here. So you may still be feeling a little bit, drawn or connected somewhat energetically to that old world aspect, or that old chapter of your life, but that you are, you've got one foot still in that aspect, but you've also now got your foot in this new chapter, this new bright, wonderful beginning for yourself, and that you are moving through that into completion, finally leaving the old world behind as you transition into the new. And that once you do transition into this great new chapter for yourself, that you really are going to be, abundantly successful in whatever way that manifests and, looks for you, as we, all value and desire things differently. You are moving into a chapter of steady progress of, building this new wonderful life for yourself. And if it, resonates as well for you at all as well, it can also be a great key indicator that the new chapter that you're moving into could, involve a new pregnancy, which is really wonderful and exciting if that is something you're wanting to manifest. Or it could literally just, mean that you're really fertile at the moment to birth this new world and reality into your world for yourself. And so I guess just to sum the message up here for you today, I feel like you may have possibly, gone through a tumultuous period of your life, with someone or a group of people where, there was a sense of betrayal, in whatever form that may look like for you. And it would have been quite a painful, and confusing and overwhelming time of your life, but that you've really successfully alchemized and transmuted your way out of and away from this energy and away from this chapter of life to come into a more calm and grounded state for yourself, which is amazing. And by moving away from that situation, it's kind of left that baggage of dense energy to kind of fall onto the rest of the people still remained in that situation, as you're no longer there for it to cling on to. And so, you know, the people involved in this situation may now currently be going through their own pit of despair and what have you, you know, as part of their journey of alchemizing and transmuting through their aspect of this chapter. But, you know, again, that's not for you to worry or concern yourself with. You know, just focus on your own calm, grounded state and the new chapter that you're being beckoned into. And then, you know, with the Chariot and Hanged Woman here, just really signifying and validating that you are in a period of, you know, transition and change and movement. You know, you may currently feel a little bit like you're in between two worlds here. You know, a foot in the old chapter, a foot in the new chapter. But that's totally okay, as you are going through this period of change and transition of completely moving to this new wonderful chapter here that's going to bring about so much abundance and success for yourself, fulfilling your inner soul's, you know, desires and sensations. And that you really are, you know, fertile in a sense at the moment, whether, you know, literally or just metaphorically, but that you're in a really fertile energy at the moment in order to become, you know, pregnant either with a real child, you know, become pregnant with creating a brand new life, or that, you know, to become pregnant metaphorically with this bold new great vision or project or creative adventure that you're wanting to embark on, and it's really going to be birthed into this new chapter for you, which is just so wonderful and amazing and magical. So, you know, a really encouraging and positive message from Spirit here today that, you know, whatever troubling times you may have gone through, that you've really done a great job of removing yourself away from that, and that you really are now, you know, due to successfully moving yourself away from that and doing what you needed to put yourself first and look after yourself. You're really being rewarded here by the universe, and are moving into this great new period of transition into a bold, new, wonderful, magical, beautiful chapter of your life. And that's just so exciting and encouraging. All right, I might leave that one here for today. Sending you so much peace, love, light, and blessings as always. Bye.